This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. I got my man Tony Crow in the building, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and break this down. We're going to talk about James Harden, Immanuel Quickley, and anything else that comes to mind, folks. Let me get my man Tony in the building. We're going to start off with James Harden. Tony, what's poppin' with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's good, son, man? Feeling good. Fresh off vacation. Unfortunately, I'm back to work tomorrow, but feeling good.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Let's get into it, man. According to Ramona Shelburne, and this could be old news, could be old hat, but according to Ramona Shelburne, Daryl Morey, a few months ago, left James Harden alone, right? She goes through and she tells an entire story about the feud between the Sixers and James Harden. Right, so Daryl Morey said he would make a good faith effort to trade Harden and had initial conversations, according to league sources, with Harden's preferred team, the Clippers, as well as the New York Knicks. Now, Ian Begley reported months ago that there were some people in the organization that supported James Harden coming to the New York Knicks and others that were against it. Personally, I'm against it. I don't want to have anything to do with James Harden. I just don't. I don't want to have anything to do with the character issue. Not that he's, I don't even know if I want to say character issue. The way he goes about handling his team situations when he wants to get out and all that kind of stuff, I don't want to deal with it. And I don't want to deal with the style of play either. You know, we already have a lot of isolation on this basketball team. We don't need to add another ISO player. You know what I mean? But what are your thoughts about the Knicks at least having initial conversations for James Harden?
I think it's due diligence. I'm not even mad at the due diligence. I think if you're one of those guys that were in favor of the potential of it, I mean, there's arguments to support it, right? Mm-hmm. I think he led the league in assists this past year in what was an obvious step back in his offensive role, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, I think he kind of contributed to Embiid having the year that he had and winning the MVP. The problem, like you said, it boils down to happy James Harden versus unhappy James Harden and the risk that you take,
right,
of him being unhappy James Harden.
Right.
But when you just talk about potential, I mean, like, what he does on the court and what he's capable of, I think the due diligence is warranted. But then at this front office, man, if there's one thing we know about who they target, it's always character is very high on the list.
Yeah.
Of what they determine if they're gonna bring somebody in or not.
Right. Character seems to be, one of the number one factors. It might be I guess the first thing they ask is, can this guy play ball? Right? And then the next thing is, what's this guy's character like? Because this front office they've erred on the side of caution. They haven't taken any chances. Obviously, they haven't taken any chances with their trade capital, with players. They haven't taken any flyers on guys who had character issues and to see, well, can we help rehabilitate this guy and his character and his image? No, they're not dealing with any of that. And to me, I think that comes directly from Leon Rose. You know, being an agent, I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of background information on these guys. And he knows these guys. He knows their what they've done in their childhood. He knows what their parents are like. I think he's got all that information on a lot of these guys because that's what they would do to try to recruit guys to join their agency. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They do that background work, that leg work. So yeah, I think they're heavy on guys with big IQs and who's not gonna cause a ripple.
And you have to attribute it to Leon Rose because prior to him, you know, and this is through a number of different front offices, the Knicks were known to kind of rehabilitate careers, whether it was through injury, you know what I mean, through you know what I mean, we just finished mentioning Latrell Sprewell, whether it was you know what I mean, something like that kind of incident, whether it was you know, rehabilitation from, you know, some type of substance abuse. You know what I mean? Like we have been notoriously known, and this is in a good way, but to give guys second chances.
Right.
And you know what I mean? I think that has kind of changed in a sense where they assess risk a lot more when they thinking about bringing somebody in.
Right. Let me ask you this. Do you think James Harden, Philly has the same type of media that the Knicks have? Not as big, but ruthless. Fans, ruthless, right? But do you think James Harden, if he were to come to New York, says, I ain't playing here. Like, because like I'm not playing. I'm here to focus in and try to get this done because I know what the backlash is like being that I'm in New York.
I mean, it's tricky. Because obviously, you know what I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you, even Brooklyn is not New York.
Right.
But
Right.
you know what I mean? It's close in the sense that every outlet is the same outlet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if he was, and granted, it probably was the quietest in Brooklyn as far as like when he asked out and the rumblings.
Well, I mean, when you got Kyrie over there doing, you know what I mean? He ain't gonna have no spotlight on him.
Fair
you know
enough.
what I mean?
That is an absolute fact. But to your point, to your credit, New York, the Knicks, it would be different. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? There's no sugarcoating it. There's no back seat to this story. You know what I mean? Like you're the story.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I mean, listen, if James,
I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't take the chance.
Yeah, if I'm the general manager, I wouldn't either, or you know, the president, Leon Rose. But let's just say they did. We're speculating here, ladies and gentlemen. We're playing devil's advocate.
I'll say this. If he was given to us, in the sense that, you know what I mean, whatever it took to get him was, you know, obviously Fournier and you know, maybe underutilized pieces, minimal utilized pieces, then obviously the talent is there. You know what I mean? Right. Maybe he needs a guy like Tibbs as well. I don't know. But I think the same risk occurred too with, you know what I mean? Like Tibbs is not, he's shown he ain't afraid to sit somebody for whatever that particular reason is. So, you know what I mean? How does that, you know what I mean? It's too risky.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't want to have an issue where Tibbs sit him for the second half and, you know what I mean? Now it becomes something different because now his response becomes, you know what I mean, clickbait, and you know what I mean, we're talking about that for a week, and yeah, nah, it's not, it's too risky, bro.
It is. It's
like
risky.
I'm gonna support the team, but I'll be nervous. I'll be on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. But let's just play some family advocate. What am I talking about?
Devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate. I used to work for a place called Family Advocacy. That's why I don't know. That's why it came out that way. Devil's advocate. Let's just play that. If he came to New York, let's say he got traded next week to the Knicks, would he become the most hated player on the team, or the guy with the
Yes.
biggest love-hate relationship? 'Cause
Yes.
Randall got the
One-
love-hate relationship. The only person right now that is cleared from that love-hate relationship is Jalen Brunson. Randall got it. RJ got it. IQ got it. You know what I mean?
He would be number one.
Be number one.
Easy, without a question. Like Randall would probably play his best basketball we ever see. Because
Randall
like,
would
you know
love
what I
it.
mean? Like
Man, oh damn, Bid, you took them off my back. Randall would love it.
100%. I mean, you're gonna have the fight between, and when I say fight, I'm saying fan aspects, but the fight between Harden dominating the ball and whether it should go to Brunson. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have, like, everybody's gonna see the ball less, and I mean, there's a fair argument that they should. You know what I mean? Like, because he is that talented. I mean, like, you can't deny it. You
There's
talking
no doubt
about
about it. He's talented.
like he could average 35, or he could lead the league in assists. You know what I mean? Like, my biggest question would, or my biggest concern probably would be, who's our wing defender now? Like, we gotta have A1 stellar. You know what I mean? Whoever's playing that 3, they gotta be multifaceted, able to guard 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
because you know, Brunson undersized, Harden not known as a defender,
Right.
lacks effort there. You know what I mean? You talk about Randall and lack of effort defensively. Or if Harden was here, like, some of the things that we you know what I mean, they showed clips of, or we seen watching games where he's literally a cone. You know what I mean? Like,
Get on my Noriega again. I think I'm gonna clip that out and put it in my buttons over here and just every time I feel like saying it. You know
hold
what I
on
mean?
though. We shout out to Nori, but shout out to Chop Low too.
Yeah. Chop Low used to do that. He used to hit him with the no doubt about it. Word. All right. Still playing devil's advocate. Who would you trade? What would a trade look like for James Harden?
I mean, I think if we're being realistic and honest, like, it would have to include RJ. I'm not advocating this. I'm telling you, I'm answering the question. I think Philly's asking for RJ. I think they're asking for Quickley, and then at that point, it's whatever else needs to make the salary match and whatever draft capital they're asking for. I don't think at this point, where, you know what I mean, he's potentially walking for nothing next year, I think they're not asking for no more than two first round picks. I'm again, I'm not advocating. I'm trying to be a realist.
No. I dig it. You know, the longer this goes on, the cheaper the price becomes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? The cheaper the price becomes. Now, you know, of course, you got to make the salaries match. So, you know, and the Knicks, I mean, we're going to talk about it a little bit later when we talk about Immanuel Quickley, but, I mean, the Knicks already are at $167,000 in team payroll. They're still under the luxury tax, you know what I mean? But obviously they have certain restrictions that are on them now. You know, if they were to bring in, now they can't see that right now, Tone. If they were to bring in James Harden, right? James Harden this season makes $35.6 million.
I think RJ and Fournier match up. I'm pretty sure I've seen it somewhere.
Let me see. RJ makes this
What,
season,
22, right?
he makes 23.8. Evan Fournier's 18.8. That's 41.
So is it Quickley too? Because
Harden doesn't make that much.
oh no, that's right. He make 35, right?
Yeah, Harden is at 35.6.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so you're talking RJ and a player that's $10 to $12 million, or two players. You know what I mean? The Knicks is probably they'll probably try to get him on a song and a dance. We'll give you Evan Fournier and then somebody else to make up that other 15.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, given the situation. So, but do you think if, and ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking hypothetically here,
Not
right?
advocating.
We're not advocating. We're speaking hypothetically, since the Knicks had initial conversations for James Harden back a few months ago. That means that something had to have been thrown out there, and those negotiations, those conversations probably haven't been forgotten.
Well,
Right,
I think they have interest in Quickley. I think, you know what I mean, like there's intrigue with the Quickley Maxey backcourt. So,
Small one, but small one, but I get, I get it, intrigue, I get it. You know what I mean? But are you saying though, if anything for Harden, RJ would have to be included? Is that your thought process?
Well, it depends, because Fournier being the salary part, and then like I said, I've read that they had interest in Quickley, or at least the Knicks at that point was looking at Quickley involved in that move. So I was assuming myself about RJ. So I think that it would be one of the two.
Right.
I think RJ makes more sense, but shout out to Trav B Ryan. He says RJ would get killed in Philly. I agree. But I also think most people want Harden gone. And it's like at this point they're like, just get rid of him. Do the Clipper trade at this point. A lot of their fans are saying. So I think they take with and live with what they get, what the return is.
I think that's what ends up happening, and or maybe they figure out a way to make it work. For me though, bottom line is, man, I'm not interested in James Harden. I don't want James Harden on this team. I hope he stays. Well, I don't care where he goes. Just don't let him come to the Knicks. That's basically where I'm at with it. Don't keep him far away from the New York Knicks. That's where I am. I don't want him around. I mean, it's gonna bring, it's just gonna bring so much scrutiny. Any star is gonna bring scrutiny, and we're just gonna have to get used to that and live with that. But we don't want the other stuff that's gonna come with the scrutiny. And
it's baggage is what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the scrutiny will come based off of performance, like whoever it is, right? But to come in with the baggage or that reputation that follows you, you know what I mean? Like now it's a little bit different. Now you may get scrutinized for something other than basketball.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's gonna be a lot of opinion based, and he brought it upon himself. It's warranted.
Yeah,
but we don't need
about that. Nah, Knicks don't need it at all. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Immanuel Quickley and his extension. Just some details from me and Begley about a possible extension for Immanuel Quickley. But before we get to that, I do want to remind you that we have tickets to the Knicks versus Cavs on November the 1st. I know a lot of people were expecting us to have a home opener. It didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. They just didn't have enough tickets to satisfy our group. We would have been spread out throughout the arena. So I said, we want to keep the group together. We want to rock together. You know what I mean? So November 1st at Madison Square Garden, the Cavs versus the Knicks. It's the second game of a back-to-back for the Knicks and the Cavs, and it's a home and away. So the Knicks will play the Cavs in Cleveland on October the 31st, and then they both travel to New York to play another game at Madison Square Garden. It's a playoff rematch, ladies and gentlemen. There's a link in the description of the video. There's a link at the top of your YouTube chat. Go get your tickets now. They're $155. All right, the price is going to go up like September the 19th. So get your tickets now. Get them now. All right, so we be ready to go. All right, $155, ladies and gentlemen. Great 6 seats, section 223 through section 225. All right, let's get with it. Immanuel Quickley, ladies and gentlemen, his extension is due. Well, it's not totally.
It's eligible now.
It's eligible, right? It's eligible. But the deadline to extend Immanuel Quickley is October the 24th. All right, that's a day before the season begins. That's the deadline to extend Quickley, according to Ian Begley. I'm going to read it. This is straight from the article. All right, you can check the description of the video. The article is in the description of the video. A Quickley extension will likely push the Knicks over the luxury tax threshold. All right, and hold on. I think I need to rewind this a little bit before I just start jumping into that part of it. All right, excuse me for a second while I guess I don't need to rewind it. All right, anyway, a Quickley extension will likely push the Knicks over the luxury tax threshold. All right. Let me go on before I comment. Let's say the Knicks extend Quickley on a deal that starts at $18 million per year. This would leave them roughly $4.5 million shy of the luxury tax with other roster spots to fill. All right, so in parentheses, he says this figure does not account for the new deals for Miles McBride and Isaiah Hartenstein. Both would be up for new contracts in 2024-25, which is the first year of Quickley's extension. All right, the club also has to account for a Quentin Grimes extension starting in 25-26 and new contracts for Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. So the current iteration of this team could be pretty expensive in 2 seasons. Listen, we've been talking about that for a while, right? That, right now, this is the time for the Knicks to make a move because of the contracts that they have. All right, let's keep on moving. Something else worth noting on Quickley's extension talks. If the Knicks extend Quickley, it becomes extremely difficult to include him in a trade in the 23-24 season. Quickley's extension would come with a poison pill provision. The provision creates a wide gap between incoming and outgoing salary in any trade that involves Quickley. Let's say, for example, that Quickley's extension is for 4 years, $72 million. If the Knicks included him in a trade in 2023-2024, his salary would count for roughly $4 million in outgoing money for New York. But Quickley's salary for trade purposes would be roughly $15 million incoming to the team that's inquiring him in a deal. So if I had Quickley and I traded him to Tony's team, on my books, I'm only trading out $4 million. Tony's taking back $15 million. Right? And that number is the average of Quickley's 2023-24 salary and the average annual salary of his extension.
Does that also mean that is how Quickley is being paid? Like he gets the bump this year, but it's
no, he doesn't get the bump.
Wow.
He doesn't get the bump. That's just how it looks on the opposing teams or the team that's getting him. That's how it looks on their books. but he doesn't get that $15 million.
So
He
where
gets
does
the
it
salary
actually
that he
go?
gets. Huh?
Where does it actually go?
I don't think that
Or is it
it's
just being penalized? Like,
it's
for
not. I don't
instance,
think it's being penalized. I think it's that it's like a hold. I think, right? So Quickly doesn't get that money, but it's like the team has to hold that
they
amount of
can't.
money,
Okay, I got you.
right?
I got you.
Somewhere like that. Uh, it's the same thing that went down with R.J. Barrett
Mm-hmm.
when he signed his extension, but people were still talking about, well, a trade, boom, 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 and he couldn't be traded because of
The
the
only way
same
to be
exact
traded,
poison pill.
the only way to be traded potentially at that point is someone having the cap space.
Right.
Like, so now they're absorbing that hold. You know what I mean? That extra money.
Right. Right. Someone having the cap space. I mean, yeah. And they don't mind absorbing that extra money. You know what I mean? So you could get a third team involved. And this is what Ian Begley actually talks about, right? He said the Knicks could add a third team in a Quickly deal to satisfy the league's trade rules. All right. And I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you can see it. All right, to satisfy the league's trade rules, but those trades become cumbersome, talking about a three-team trade. So a trade involving Quickly in 23-24 post-extension becomes close to impossible to execute. Hypothetically, one option for New York would be to include a significant amount of money in a deal involving Quickly. In the hypothetical extension discussed above, the Knicks could take back between $39.6 million and $42.6 million in salary if they moved Quickly, Fournier, and Mitchell Robinson in a trade during the 23-24 season. The window for this kind of trade also depends on the receiving team and how much flexibility they have under the league's trade rules. So there are plenty of hurdles to clear to complete a trade involving Quickly if he signs an extension. If he and the Knicks don't agree to an extension, Quickly's $4 million for 2023-2024 is the only number to consider in potential trades. In this scenario, a trade involving Quickly becomes more straightforward. So looking at this, Tony, I know I had been in the past, I was saying, well, if the Knicks trade Quickly now, they may not be actually getting their values worth. Right? That's something I was thinking about. They might not get the values worth because a team might value Quickly at $18 million a year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but now you're only trading them for $4 million. You dig what I'm saying? But now looking at the situation,
I think that still holds true.
I mean, it still holds true, but it just makes it tougher to move because it makes it tougher to move.
Yeah,
Right?
the only
because of what the other team has to accept back, and so you got to figure out how to make that work. You know what I mean?
But I think what Ian Begley is kind of, without specifying it, I think what he's only referencing, Quickly being moved to a team that is already kind of financially strapped or somewhere within that apron, because that's when those restrictions apply.
Right.
Again, if the team has the cap to absorb that hold, then there's no difficulty. You know what I mean? Or even with that third team absorbing the hold, then I mean, it makes it difficult. I don't like the impossible thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, it makes it very difficult. It's not impossible. It makes it very difficult, I guess, because the team, has to take back so much more salary. And, unless they're a team that has the salary, space. And if you think about any team that the Knicks might deal with, they may not have the salary space. They may not have the capacity to do so. And then you got all the other restrictions because the Knicks are, over the salary cap, and other teams might be over the salary cap. So, but still, they could not do an extension and wait until the summer and then be able to match.
Is that where you would lead towards? Because I think I would
I think I would
still.
talk to Quickly and figure out what his price point is, see what he's asking for. You know what I mean? And then make a decision. If he's asking for something that we're cool with, then I'm okay. Let's do this extension. Let's lock you in.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? If it's something that we're not good with, then or you're second guessing yourself, then you might just wait until the end of the season. Let him go into free agency, see what teams offer him, and then you can match or do a signing trade or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I'm not. That's one thing I'll say. I'm not necessarily worried in the sense that that's one thing this front office has been very, very solid at, right? The contracts, the contract negotiating, even a lot of people were mad at the RJ contract. Some people still are, don't think he's worth that much. To me, I thought that was a good deal. All these rescinding contracts. So I think they're gonna have, like you said, they're gonna have a number that they're comfortable with, and they're gonna have a window, and they're gonna have a, whether it's being let's say it's 20 million this year, but it rescinds, right?
Right.
So now they're willing to take the hit for 1 year. Obviously, James Dolan has always been willing to pay. That's never been necessarily an issue of his. If they could pitch to him, all right, take the hit this year. It's look what we've been doing. It's rescinding. It goes, you know what I mean? It goes down. The salary cap actually goes up. You know what I mean? Like their math and the way they figure things out has been spot on. So that's one thing I'm not necessarily worried about.
Yeah.
Whether it gets done or not, I think if it gets done, it's going to be a good deal for
Oh, yeah.
everybody.
I
You know what I
think
mean?
so as well.
And they know what they know the way they structured it.
Right.
Even with the opt-ins and opt-outs, like I think that's like an A+ area for this front office.
Yeah. No doubt about that. I don't know. Do you think? Well, actually, before I get there, if they waited until the end of the season, the Knicks could extend the qualifying offer, Quickly could deny it, play another season for the Knicks under that qualifying offer amount, and then be an unrestricted free agent the following season. Right? Obviously, if you're Quickly, you want to, well, I'm not going to say that. You never know. Like, Nerlens Noel bet on himself. It didn't work. Right? It didn't work. He had some nice money in his pocket, and he blew it. So
Yeah.
you would think most players are like, if I can lock something up, let me lock something up.
That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel, especially with these examples. You know what I mean? Like I think Schroeder was another one, right?
Schroeder was another one.
That lost a big amount of money.
He had $80 million contract in hand from the Los Angeles Lakers.
And at the same time, and this is where I have confidence in our front office, because look at the Brunson situation. He would have been locked up for 50. He came to them and said, "This is my number." You know what I mean? And ended up doubling up based off performance and nothing else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Based off the market and nothing else. So I think even looking at the Brunson situation, if the Knicks are being fair, I think he does. I think he locks it up. That security, I think, means a lot more to to some people. Now, granted, he's young. He may feel invincible. You know what I mean? But there's always that security of, hey, I signed this contract. Now injury is not even a thought in my mind, which sometimes, thinking about it is when it happens. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you're secure in that. Now you playing freely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say. What do you think happens? Old Head said, I think Quickly is signed before the season. The Knicks like him. IQ is a tips guy. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I've been saying it all you know, all off season. Like I think it's the smart move, especially if it's a fair deal. I think it's the smart move. Even with the climate of the league, the thing to do is sign the deal, sign the extension, and ask out later. You know what I mean? Not saying he's gonna do that, but you know what I mean, that's been
Oh,
the
yeah.
trend of this new
Right.
NBA.
Right.
So that to me it just makes the most sense, just for that security, and then God hope it don't happen, but then ask for where you want to go
Right.
afterwards.
Right. Because, if you get out there and you play the season and you get hurt, now, boom, like this is the time to get something done if you can, because you're not playing yet. Once you get out there and play, you take the risk of getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you can also bet on yourself, and you can, he can come out, be another 6-man of the year candidate, and it's play well in the playoffs, and boom, his stock goes way up. You know what I mean?
And look at look at Isaiah Thomas, right? On the Boston. Like he was in line to make 100 million. You know what I mean? Whether it was for Boston or not, but and then the injury happened, and he's pretty much been out the league since. You know what I mean? Fighting
Pretty much.
for spot. You know what I mean? So even in that, it's so many examples of where people have taken the money, or people should have taken the money. It's very few examples of the guys who kind of betted on themselves and won.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I guess I'm gonna say like a surprising guy, a guy that's not like the superstar, like or hasn't made 100 million already. So now he could bet on himself and do these 1 year deal. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Um, Man, okay, how much do you think he gets in an extension? What's he get?
if it's a 5 year, I could see 5 year 100 million easy. I could see 480 plus. You know what I mean? Like, but I could see 5 year 100.
5 years, 100, that's 25 million a year.
No, 5 years, so 20.
20 million. Okay, yeah. Five years, 100 million. Yeah, that's about 20. Wow, that's a long contract.
It
That's
is.
pretty
It
young. I
probably
mean,
has some
you
options in
probably
there.
have
You know what I mean?
option, right? You probably have that 5th year would probably be a player option. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Or, you could do 5 years, but the 4th year could be a player option, and the 5th year could be a player option, depending on, it's a lot of different ways that you can
Yeah. I mean,
structure the
you
contract.
could do, fourth year team, 5th year player.
Player,
You know what
right?
I mean?
Something like that.
It's all negotiating at that point, and meeting in the middle. But I would say 5 year 100 would probably, anything more than that, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll be very, very
Yeah.
surprised.
I kind
Um,
of agree with Building Blocks. He said he thinks it'll be a 4-year deal. I kind of agree with that. It would probably be a 4-year deal. The 4th
fourth year
year
team
would
option.
be
I mean, player option.
probably a player option.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? To give him a chance to opt out, and he got 3 years to prove himself. Now he can opt out and try to see if he can make some more money. You know what I mean? Looking at the Knicks' salary, if Immanuel Quickley, if they sign an extension for Quickley, right, you start to eat up that cap space in 25, 26. Okay? But you're talking, next season,
Fournier's off the books. So
Fournier's off the books, Randall at 30, Brunson at 25 million. RJ Barrett 25.7, or 25.8, so you might as well say 26 million. Mitchell Robinson 14.3. Then you would have Immanuel Quickley at, let's just say it was 20 million, at 20 million. Dante DiVincenzo at 11.4. Quentin Grimes at 4.2. Now you got to start talking about his contract extension. You know what I'm saying? So there's definitely going to be the Knicks they'll be looking to pay some money. I mean, next season though, I will say this: next season, if you include Evan Fournier's, or if you included Quickley at $20 million next season, the Knicks would be at $127 million, which should come below the salary cap. But no, actually, I'm sorry. What I'm looking at doesn't have Josh Hart's money in there. So, that would be $127 million plus Josh Hart's money, which is about $18 million for next season. So you're talking about $145 million already.
That's without the cap going up too.
Right. So yeah, you're talking about like 145, somewhere around there. And then you haven't made a decision about Quentin Grimes, and you still got Jericho Sims, who's got a $2 million team option for that season. Miles McBride, if Miles McBride sticks around, so signing Quickley to an extension definitely puts the Knicks over the salary cap for 24-25. And then, of course, 25-26, you're going to have Randall and Brunson most likely opt out, and you're going to have to figure out what to do with them. RJ Barrett makes 27.7 and 25-26. So,
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is Quickley at $20 million, does his contract become Tyler Hero, or you know what I mean? And I say that in the sense of semi-difficult to move, or is that a reasonable contract or a valued contract?
I think $20 million
as a trade asset.
I kind of think $20 million is a reasonable contract for IQ,
because that's about what Hero makes, and it seems like like he's.
I mean, because
people aren't jumping through hoops to snatch that contract up.
No, Hero is, well, I guess it's about, Hero is $27 million in 23-24, $29 million in 24-25, $31 million in 25-26, and $33 million in 26-27.
That wasn't what that's just kicking in. That's not what he made this past year.
I think that probably kicks in this season.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That does change the dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so it becomes still a movable contract. I think you pay him now, you do the extension, whatever. If you got to choose later, you know what I mean, down the road, like you may have to choose between him and a Grimes, you know what I mean, or you may have to figure things out. But if it's a movable contract, I say it with a grain of salt, because I was one of the people who was saying Fournier's contract is movable, and it's, you know what I mean, if it don't work out, blah 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 blah. But obviously, Quickley is a better player, better two-way player than Fournier. So I think it stays at that value, and it becomes more of a fair trade down the road, where you're getting equal value in return. You know what I mean? Where you move him now, he has to be included. He's the prize in the trade going out. But you got to move like Fournier for the salary part.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not equal. Like if you moving him 1-for-1, you're not gonna find a guy making $4 million that's gonna give you the same type of impact
exactly
on the team.
Exactly, and that's where, you know what I mean, we talk about the Knicks not, maybe not getting that value, because of that whole situation. But look, if Josh Hart is making what he makes, I mean, how can you not pay right? How can you not pay Immanuel Quickley at least the same, most likely more?
Yeah. That's why I say you do it now, and then if you got to figure it out with Grimes like later, you know what I mean? Like you may choose Grimes later. You know what I mean? And it may be of more valued contract. Like it may be less money. I don't know. It may be more, whatever it is. But you make that decision when you have to, as opposed to, you know what I mean, kind of doing it now, knowing you still got to make that decision about Grimes later. You know what I mean? You still got to.
Yeah.
I say you worry about each thing as it comes up.
I mean,
But
I guess the thing is though, you kind of gotta look ahead some so that you can, like, I think you gotta plan ahead a little bit to make sure that you have good flexibility. I think, like we talked about, the contracts that they've been able to do recently, right? I think part of it is because they do look ahead and say, okay, you know, what gives us the flexibility to get out of the contract if we don't like what's going on, to be able to move it, you know, all of those things.
well, even with the trading of Quickley, like I say, it's not impossible, but it's very difficult. But I think if you give him the extension, your mindset is he's here for the year.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think when they
Right.
gave RJ that you know what I mean, that extension, they was like, all right, he's here for the year. Now it becomes a year of, can he outperform the contract before it actually kicks in? You know what I mean? And if he does that, you know what I mean, obviously the trade value is there moving forward. So so it's still looking at the future. I'm saying the Grimes thing, you worry about the Grimes thing when that hits more so than you know what I mean? Like that's when I say worry about the future in the future. I'm talking about Grimes in particular. Because that's not going to change. You know what I mean? You can't fix it now. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't extend them now. So that's what I mean. You worry about that then.
Yeah.
But your plan now has to be a part of that. You know what I mean? So I think Quickley, even at 20, I wouldn't want to move him, but I think he's movable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get more of a fair value. I mean, maybe it's OG, you know what I mean? Maybe so it's something like that.
Yeah, you definitely do. You know, you get a fair value, or I mean, you get a fair value at that point. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they're the agents and you know, Leon Rose and Quickly's agents, they're having talks. I'm pretty positive, you know, to see if maybe they can get something done before the extension deadline, which is on October the 24th. You know, we'll see. We will see. Immanuel Quickley's been working out with Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, working on that shot. Listen, that's the thing that you got to know the Knicks love about Quickley. The kid just works.
Yes.
He's all ball, all hoop. You know what I'm saying? He's all hoop. He just works. And so you know Tom Thibodeau loves that about Quickley.
And I'll tell you one thing, man. If this particular like training session, whatever, if this translates,
yeah,
they gonna be mad they didn't lock them up if they don't.
And you know, this whole thing they might wait until training camp to really begin to really get serious about the contract extension when they see him in training camp. If they see him in training camp and he's just killing, they're gonna try to lock it up. You know what I'm saying? They might try to lock it up. We'll see how that goes, man. You know, I would love to see IQ stay with the Knicks long term. In my heart, I want to see him be a Knick long term. My head is saying that it's going to be hard for the Knicks to keep him because he wants to be a starter in this league too.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's so tough because I keep asking everybody, do you see a path for him to start at the 2, right, and start alongside Brunson? And I always credit Queen with her stat that, I mean, she found of the defensive lineups with Quickley in it, and everyone that he's in is in the better defensive lineups. You know what I mean? Like once you take Quickley out the lineup, it don't matter what other people, 4 people or 5 people out there. If he's in there, it goes up. If he's out, it goes down. The problem though is his value in that second unit. So I think there is a path for him to start, but who's gonna bring what he brings to that second unit? You know what I mean? Like I don't think Grimes is even aggressive enough to have that same value in the second unit that Quickley does. You know what I mean? Maybe DiVincenzo can bring that if you know what I mean, if that's the guy. But Hart is not gonna bring it. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna get that spark. You know what I mean? That change. I guess DiVincenzo would be the only guy potentially I think that could do that.
Yeah.
But so that my question: do you think there's a path for him to start? And then do you think it's even worth it because of what we lose in that second unit?
Yeah. I don't even know if there's a path for him to start. Really, because of just, I guess there's a path.
It takes away from his offense too in the starting of the lineup.
Yeah. There's a path, I think, but I think it's better for the team for him to come off the bench. You know what I mean? I think the lineups work better that way. You know, he can be off the bench. He can do his thing off the bench. He can be the leader off the bench. He can command the bench. You know what I mean? That's why I just see it being tough for him to start, to be the starting anything on this team. I mean, and not that he's not better than Quentin Grimes. It's the fit. I really just feel like the fit means something. Quentin Grimes doesn't need the ball in his hands as much.
Yeah,
you know,
he naturally has to change who he is in that starting lineup.
Yep.
Even though the defense may be better, you know what I mean? Like he has to change not only like his nature to the core in a sense, but then you don't have that anybody replacing that in that second unit.
Right.
So it's tough, man.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. It's
They
definitely
gotta sell quickly on. We right there for a championship. You know what I mean? Like we gotta like they gotta sell him on the value. You know what I mean? Like the value of you in that second unit. It's not saying nothing about your skill or your lack of ability in the starting unit. It's just the value that you bring in that second unit and what it could do for the team. So it's a tough sell, but I guess if you're getting paid, you know what I mean? If you get that part right, I think that might cure everything.
Yeah. Harlem CEO said, believe it or not, for some reason, I think Grimes might be more aggressive if he's in the second unit. I think he might be more aggressive, but I don't see him like being the floor leader, the leader guy out there. You know, he's kind of quiet. You know, like Quickley is the leader of that second unit. And I think maybe you take away from those things when he enters that first unit because Brunson's the leader. And he's got to now take a few steps back and get in line. He's going to play with that starting unit anyway. And I guess he would play with the second unit too, you know, if he became a starter.
Do you think DiVincenzo could bring that leadership in the second unit that Quickley has?
DiVincenzo.
Like could he supplement what we miss from Quickley if Quickley is in that second starting?
It's possible.
Unit?
It's possible. It's possible. No doubt about that. It's possible. It might come a little more naturally to IQ. You know what I mean? But I think it's definitely possible. R. De La Cruz and somebody else, you know, said something, you know, so you're paying Quickley such and such money to be a role player or, you know, leader of the second unit means nothing. I disagree. When you say leader of the second unit means nothing, I totally disagree. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put a unit out there on the floor. If you got your second unit out there on the floor, like you don't want to put them out there and they're leaderless. They're just going with, they're just doing. You gotta have somebody who's your focal point. out there. Anytime you're on the floor, I think you need to have that focal point guy. To say the leader of the second unit means nothing, so then you're saying the second unit means nothing, right? That's just not true. And this is the everybody wants to start, and I get it, no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, most coaches start their best 5 players. A lot of coaches start their best lineup, right? Or try to even out the lineups, however it is. Tom Thibodeau says it all the time. We got several starters on the bench. You know what I mean? Quickley is obviously, probably the main guy. But I don't want to take away from what a guy does because he comes off the bench. You know what I'm saying?
And he's been groomed there, and he would continue to be groomed. You know what I mean? Like so. To me, that's more learning opportunity. There's more time to stamp that position of the leader. You know what I mean? For when it's time to start, whether it's somewhere else or whatever the case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's still experience.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And as far as, being a guy who's making $20 to $25 million and being a role player, bro, get used to it. First of all, I don't know, I guess you call him a role player if that's what you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if he's like, I guess, you're saying he's playing a 6-man role. If you want to call it a role player, everybody's playing a role then, right? Some people are scorers. Some are just rebounders. Some are all around. If you're an all-around guy, that's your role. If you're the leader of the team, that's your role. If you're the best scorer on the team, guess what? That's your role.
And the good teams have guys that are sacrificing and playing the role that the team needs.
Right.
Like look at the team that just won the championship.
Right.
And I mean it's countless. Aaron Gordon, from his role in Orlando to his role in Denver and adjusting. Iguodala coming from Philly and his role there to his role in Golden State. Like when you want to win,
right, you're gonna adjust.
You're gonna have
role.
to sacrifice something,
right? And everybody plays minutes, a role on the team. Be
shots. It might, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody's a role player. To be honest with you, everybody's a role player. People just have different roles. You're the scorer. You're the leader. You're the rebounder. You're the defender. You're the coach on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a different role out there on the basketball team.
And it may vary on your team. Like depending on the team you're on. You know what I mean? You may go from this role on this team to the next team. You might have to adjust.
Is Jalen
the good ones adjust.
Right. Is Jalen Brunson a role player? Was he a role player in Dallas? Right? He was on Dallas. He was asked to take a back seat in scoring to Luka. But now he comes to the Knicks, and he's one of your main scoring options. You know what I'm saying? He's playing a different role in New York as he was in Dallas. You know what I mean?
Playing a different role on Team USA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still a leader.
You know
what I mean? Still Captain America, but different role.
Yeah, so, So, yeah, I paid $25 million for a role player. They all playing a role, all of them. All of them. But we'll see how this thing works with Immanuel Quickley, man. We'll see how it goes.
What do you think? What do you think, Sam? Does it get done or not?
I think
if you was putting a free wager, not money, you know what I mean, but whatever.
If I'm the Knicks, I'm trying to get it done. I'm trying to get it done. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make it happen so that I can lock them in. I'm trying to make it happen over the summer so I can lock them in at a decent price.
What was the last Knicks contract negotiation that you heard when they was like, oh, the Knicks and such are not on the same page, nowhere near.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I feel like I heard it, but I can't recall who it was.
I don't know.
And I feel like it still got done.
Yeah. And I don't
But
even know that they're not on the same page. I don't think we've heard much about
no.
he's
I'm
asking
just
for
saying, when
this.
was the last time?
Yeah.
Because I was using that as an example that it seems like they just be figuring shit out. You know what I mean? That's part of me. They be figuring it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
out the
no doubt
blue.
about it.
Oh, deal done.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, man, I think I don't know, Tony, anything else you want to bring up before we rock up out of here?
I mean, we talked about it off air. Fournier, coming out and saying he's okay. You know what I mean, he's fine with coming back if that, you know what I mean, if he's not moved. I think it's just reality setting in.
Basically.
You know what I mean?
Basically.
I think it's more of him saying, I'm not gonna be a bad teammate or
Right.
not gonna be a distraction.
Right.
As opposed to a change of heart, if you will.
Right. That's a smart thing for him to come out and say, because you look at what's happening with Harden and Damian Lillard and all of that. You know what I mean? It's a smart thing to come out and say, I ain't going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what I mean? What pissed me off was the fact that, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I've been defending him as a true professional and a guy that the rest of the teammates could look at as, you know what I mean, a role model in the sense of, when things aren't going your way, how to handle yourself. And then, he had like a whole change. He left the United States and started
bugging out.
The beat.
You know what I mean?
That's how you really feel,
right,
bro.
right. Yeah,
but like he forgot news travels a lot faster today
than it did before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But anyway,
that's about it, bro.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. I do want to remind you, please make sure you get those Knicks versus Cavs tickets. They're $155. All right, we're going to be doing a post-game, a live pre-game podcast, live post-game podcast, and then we'll be doing, we'll have some giveaways. We'll have a special perk. Maybe we'll get to shoot free throws on the floor or take a picture on the floor or something else. You know what I mean? The Knicks haven't sent down what those perks are going to be. As soon as we find out, we'll be able to let people know a little bit better of what those perks are. But you're probably not going to find a better price. As a matter of fact, for the tickets that I have right now, if you go on SeatGeek and you look up section 224 or 225 or 223, they're going for about $220. Right? They're going for about $220. That's what, this is right now. Obviously, I think next week or so, Ticketmaster will start having, tickets for the fans. It'll be opened up to the public. But as we get closer to those games, I can guarantee you those seats, they're going to get up to $220, $230, $250. You know what I'm saying? You can get in right now for $155, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be a good deal.
Save that extra money and get the hot dogs and sodas while you're there.
Word up. Because the hot dogs, once you buy the hot dogs and soda, you spending another $100. God forbid you come with 2 or 3 of you guys. You know what I mean? You 300 down. You know what I mean? So get them tickets now. We're at $155. There's a link in the description of the video. There's a link pinned to the top of your YouTube chat, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, make sure you take care of it. And then on October the 7th, we are having our kickoff cookout. You know what I mean? We're just Knicks fans, friends, and family getting together, chilling, talking about the Knicks, doing a live podcast, playing some ball, maybe some football since it's going to be football season. We're going to have a good time, ladies and gentlemen. Good time. Make sure you join us. Tony, any last words before we get out of here?
Two things. I just, right before this, I finished up with Sin. We did episode 2 of 1-on-1. We talked Ja Morant and Anthony Edwards. So if y'all wasn't there, go check that out. And support. Let me know what y'all think. It's a new series I'm working on, 1-on-1. And then I lost it, but somebody in the chat said they don't sit in 200s. I don't know I don't know what that meant. If he balling,
That
means or what? But
all right, that means he only sits in 400s.
oh, okay. well, you almost getting it for 400 price. You know what I mean? Like,
Word.
You take it, and it's the atmosphere, man. We all together. We grouped out. We do the podcast beforehand, afterwards. It's a great experience, man.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's
if
real
you
fun.
used to the 100s, man, just come up here with us regular folks. You know what I mean, for the night.
You know what I'm saying?
And,
He ain't used to. He ain't used to the. Who said it? He ain't used to the 100s. Lying. Be right up on Chase Bridge with everybody else. Who said that? Right up on Chase Bridge with everybody else, looking over top of the game. Stop lying. Know who that is. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're up out of here. Be peaceful. And yeah, I'm gonna try to, I'm trying to get back in the groove of things, because October 3rd, I think, is when training camp kicks off. You know what I'm saying? So right about now, people are just starting to roll back in on vacation and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's time to get moving, time to get grooving, ladies and gentlemen. We out of here. Peace. Trying to see who said that.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.